y'all, and welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things, and our Sewers Club project review video for May of 2023. If you don't know what Sewers Club is a monthly subscription box where you get everything you need to make one project. That's the fabric, the pattern, any kind of feasible fleece or zippers or buttons or fasteners or whatever you need. It all comes in this lovely box. You also get access to a video tutorial that I highly recommend watching because, well, for me at least, I'm more of a visual person than a sit down and read a pattern kind of person. So those video tutorials always help me out. You also get some bonus items. You always get a bonus matching thread. Sometimes you get other things as well. And then for an additional around $10 a month, you can also get Notion add-ons, right? Make it like a premium box. These Notion add-ons are not necessary for the completion of your project. Sometimes they help though, and then other times they're just kind of fun things to get. I get the Notion add-on because when I first started getting this box, I was quite new to sewing and I wanted to see what all was out there and available, and now I like to continue getting them because I still like getting new things, and I open them and discuss them on this channel, so it's nice to show you everything that you can get in the box. So yeah, I think they're pretty cool. I really like Sewers Club as a company. Normally, I used to be able to say that Sewers Club has no idea what I'm doing and that this is all kind of independent of them, but now they do know who I am and they have seen what I am doing, and because of that they have reached out to me a couple weeks ago actually when I was doing the unboxing for this video and offered me a discount code, a lovely code for you and for me. So basically what I have now available down in my description box or on the screen for you is a discount code FRED, and these apply to new subscribers for their two different subscription boxes, right? They have the Sewers Club subscription, which we're talking about today, and they have the Stash Builder subscription, which is you getting some fat quarters delivered to you on a monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly basis, something like that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. They have a bunch of different options for that Stash Builder. It's really cool. They just started selling half meters as well in the subscription, which I think is really quite neat. But anyway, back to the code. So if you use my code on your very first order of either subscription box, Stash Builder or the Sewers Club project box, you can save 30% on your first Stash Builder box, or you get a discount on your first Sewers Club project box. These are for new subscribers to these things only, I believe, but it's kind of cool. So 30% off on the Stash Builder box, and I think it's $12 Canadian on the Sewers Club project box, which works out to about $8-ish off American. And for all the lovely people that they ship to that I do not know the currency exchange for, just know that it's like saving yourself a couple of bucks, which I think is pretty awesome. And it also means, because it's a lovely affiliate link, that I get a little bit of money as well that I will probably pump directly back into Sewers Club to buy more fabric and things like that, because I'm a massive fan of this box, of this company. So yeah, that's my awkward way of saying I think I'm a YouTuber now. I have an affiliate link. Like, how cool is that? The link is Fred. I don't know if I said that. I know it's been on screen, and I'll have it down in the description box for you as well. So yeah, if you've been thinking about checking out Sewers Club and you want to save yourself some money, maybe now's a fun time to go check it out. Hopefully I'll get better at this as I talk more about it, but it's my first time, so there you go. Anyway, 5 minutes into the video, let's talk about this project box, this project review. So this video is now going to be in 4 parts. Part 1 is showing you what came in the box. Part 2 is walking you through the making of this project. Part 3 is pros, cons, and user error. And then part 4 is going to be final thoughts and sign off. These videos always take a long time, but let's see if we can make it shorter, shall we? Doubtful, but you never know. So, part 1, what came in the box? So as I work through the projects, I put everything that came in the box back into here so that I have a good idea of where everything is. So here's the original photo card. Here are the instructions, 28 of them. Here's the bonus fat quarter that I got this month. My mother-in-law got this other one, like the deer, which she was very excited about. I was excited for her. It looked really pretty. So here's my bonus fat quarter. I have done nothing with it as of yet, but I'm sure it'll make its appearance somewhere in the future. I really like it. I really like that color. Then we have some scrap of this butterfly fabric. We have like a larger piece of the butterfly fabric. They said it wasn't directional, but I think it is. So I kind of paid attention to that when I was cutting so that most of my butterflies faced upright, so that my blue butterfly in particular faced upright. So that's this scrap. Then we had quite a bit of this green strawberry scrap as well. I don't think it's enough to make another bag, but it's definitely enough to make another project. And we have this lovely brown scrap. I think it's meant to look a bit like cork, because I've been seeing like a lot of people working with cork, but it works really well with this project. We have like a little bit of fusible fleece left, little rectangle, and then this was the Notion add-on from this month, a bobbin holder. I don't have enough extra bobbins floating around to use this, but I'm sure I will be able to in the future. So I really like it. I'm very excited to have it. So yeah, I'm knocking stuff around. So that is what came in the box. So yeah, it was quick. Now we'll talk part 2, putting things together. First I'll lay out the fabric so you have like something to stare at in the background. Yeah, the project assembly in general was not difficult. It took me about 4.5 hours, 5 hours from start to finish. That includes cutting out everything. Like I'm getting better, a little bit faster at it. So let's just talk about that. So like I said, it is 28 steps. And I don't think that it pulls you out for anything optional. Oh yeah, I did that. So they have like your preparation, like they have your cutting section, your prep section, and then your sewing section. It was a 1/4 inch seam allowance throughout. So let's talk about it. Cutting was pretty straightforward. The video tutorial said, oh, nothing's really directional, but like I said, I wanted to focus on this blue butterfly, so I did pay attention to cutting first off. First off, I remember to iron all of these, unlike last month's project. But I ironed them all nice and flat, then I laid them all out, and I started cutting. So fabric A, which was the butterfly fabric, you needed to cut 4 4¼ inch by 9 inch rectangles. That's because this is basically 2 pouches sewn together to make like a fun interior little pocket. So everything was like kind of repeating it over again. So 4 4¼ by 9 inch rectangles, and that's for the top of your bag. You needed 1 16 by 3 inch rectangle to do the wrist strap, 2 1 3/4 by 3 inch rectangles to make the D-ring tabs, and you need 4 roughly 1 inch by 2.5 inch small rectangles to make the zipper tabs. So all fairly straightforward. Fabric B was your bag body. That's this dark brown. When I say bag body, I mean bag bottom. You needed 4 2.5 by 9 inch pieces. And that's just because like these two pieces together, the butterfly and the brown, was like your exterior body pieces. You needed to have 4 of them, right? Because you're making 2 pouches together. Fabric C was the lining. So that was this lovely green strawberry fabric. And you needed 4 6 by 9 inch pieces, and that's basically because the size of the bag is roughly 6 by 9. And then you needed 4 6.25 by 9 inch pieces of fusible fleece, right? The fusible fleece helps give your body or your bag some structure. You needed 4 of them because, like I've said, and I will continue to say, it's basically making 2 pouches sewn together. So, yeah. They say in the preparation, they say in this step, the zippers will be prepared for sewing. Depending on the kind of zipper, the preparation will be different. But the video basically said that you need to make this, like cut this down to exactly 8 inches. And on here, it doesn't say that to cut down to 8 inches. It just says like you have 2 8-inch number 3 nylon zippers. But in the thing, it said, right, make sure that they're cut down to exactly 8 inches. And I think that mean that because they always have like an 8-inch zipper is usually a little bit wider or longer than that. So you just need to cut down the edges if you down to 8 inches. And then they also said you needed to pull out the little metal pieces if you thought that it was going to mess with your 1/2-inch seam allowance on the zippers. I pulled out the metal stopper on one of them, but I didn't on the rest of them, and I just kind of cut it wonky so that I could avoid doing that. But they don't actually say in this prep step that you need it to be cut down to exactly 8 inches, but they do say that in the video. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then we launch into sewing. Normally they have you fuse things first, but because you have like a double, I was gonna say double fabric, but you have 2 fabrics making up your front piece. They have you sew those together first and then attach your fusible fleece. So let's do that first. They had you, like I said, they had you attach your butterfly fabric to your brown fabric 4 times over. Open up your seam, iron flat, take it to the, or add the fusible fleece, iron the fusible fleece on. My fusible fleece kind of sat weird, so I ended up squaring everything off. And then they had you cut out all of your curved bottoms. I actually made a curved template for this. I traced it out. It's a 2-inch curved template, so I believe that I have something exactly like this floating around somewhere. But I just took it out of some stiff cardboard, traced it out, and now I have a template. You had to do this 8 times, well, yeah, like 8 times over. So you had to do it on all 4 of your exterior pieces and then on all 4 of your interior pieces. On both sides. I cheated, just traced it out on one side, folded the fabric in half and cut them both out at the same time. But yeah, it's on all pieces, and I forgot to take a photo of the green when I did that. So just know all 8 of your pieces have to have that curved template done to them. This bag is actually very straightforward. If you understand like the mechanics of sewing and stuff like that, and you've made quite a few Sewers Club projects, this project is going to come together quite quickly, quite easily for you. Like I said, it only took me about 4.5 hours. So one of the trickiest pieces about assembling this is making your interior pocket. And right off the bat, they had you start planning for that. So on like step 6, they had you take one of your exterior bag pieces and start drawing a rectangle in the middle of it to make it into a pocket. On the fusible side, you drew a rectangle, and they walk you through how to make the rectangle. Like they had you measure up from the bottom, down from the top, and in from all of the sides, so that you had like a rectangle sitting right in the center of your one exterior piece. This rectangle will end up being about 3¼ by 5 inches. So it's like a lovely, like it's a decent little interior rectangle pocket. They have you take your other exterior piece and align it with your first exterior piece. So basically you're just kind of sandwiching 2 of your exterior pieces together. What I did is I took 2 of the pieces that I wasn't as big a fan of, like of how the butterflies laid out, and I have those kind of sit as my interior pieces. I don't really think it matters, right? But I was being a little fussy, so that's what I did. Once you have them lined up, you're going to sew on 3 sides of your rectangle that you just drew, leaving the top open, right, so that it forms a pocket. They said optionally, and they showed you in the video that you could do like little triangles on either side of your top part of your seam to really reinforce the strength and make it stronger. So that's what I did. They're just little tiny triangles that I added. Hopefully the photo helps you make it see what I'm talking about. But it really, it was really quick, and I think it really helped add to it. And then it was time to do your zippers. And once you sewed your 2 interior pockets together, the rest of it is basically fairly straightforward. It's basically just making pouches. So it says, first we have to make our zipper tabs work. And what they did is they had us do, Sewers Club has 2 different types of way you do zippers. One is that you have like loose zippers tabs, where the zipper gets, all right. So instead of muddling my way through trying to explain Sewers Club, I'm just going to use demonstration pieces. So Sewers Club has 2 different ways really of making zippers, or of doing zipper tabs. If you know what the actual technique names are, let me know in the comment section below, but I call it the open-ended zipper tab and the encapsulated zipper tab, or at least that's how I think of them. So you have your zipper, and it doesn't matter what kind of zipper it is, it's always the same way. The open-ended zipper tab, right, is you take your piece of fabric in whatever length that the pattern calls for, you fold it in half, all right, you line it up, open it, right, you line up that folded half with your end of your zipper, right, with the right sides facing the zipper. Then you sew like in whatever seam allowance that they call for, right? We'll just use the pin for that. Then when you open it up, that's a really long zipper, but you get the idea, right? When you open it up, you sew it again, right? You have like loose pieces hanging, right, that get caught up in your seam allowance. So then it's all nice like that, and it's this part is sewn into the bag so that you just see this top end of the zipper tab, right? That is what I consider like an encapsulated or an open-ended zipper, because you have open pieces. The other version is what I consider an encapsulated zipper. What you do with that, right, we have the other zipper tab on this side, is you put wrong ends down. Let's open the zipper up. Sorry, you have your wrong end pointing up, your right side facing down, right? You sew whatever seam allowance that they call for. Okay, then you take this part, you open it up, right? Because now, right, your right sides are facing. Right, Then what they do is they have you fold it over. Usually you find your halfway point. You fold this other side in, bring it around, sew that down too. And you have an encapsulated zipper, so you don't have any rough edges on at all. It's all tucked away inside, and then you go about sewing like you normally do, right? They have two different purposes. This like open-ended zipper usually gets sewn into things, and this like encapsulated zipper ends up sitting outside of your project or outside of whatever you're doing. So to make it make sense, this is an encapsulate, or this is a open-ended zipper. You see how it's pulled in. This is an open-ended zipper. You see how it's pulled in the raw edge, so you don't see it, right? It's tucked in. And then up top here, this is an encapsulated zipper because this isn't actually joined in or sewn down. It's left to its own devices. So having it encapsulated just gives you a cleaner edge. Hopefully that makes sense, and probably unneeded, but there you go. So two different ways of doing zippers. In this project, they had you do it the encapsulated zipper way so that your rough edges were tucked inside. They had you do it 2 times over because, again, we are making 2 pouches. Once the zippers are finished being prepped, the tabs are added, then they had you sew it to one of your loose exterior pieces. The general sandwiching method of, right, zipper facing the right side of the exterior fabric, and then the right side facing, the right interior fabric facing the back of your zipper. So you have exterior pieces, you have wrong sides facing out with your zipper encapsulated in the center. So open, press, and then it started to get to the tricky part. You had to sew the other side of your zipper to the 2 pieces, to the 2 exterior pieces that you had already sewn together to make that pouch or that little pocket in the center. How they had you do that is they had you fold one side down out of the way so that you could focus on the other side, and then it was general zipper sandwiching method again. I wanted to make sure that everything came together, so I actually did the exterior part first and then did a second time around with the interior fabric so that I knew everything lined up perfectly. I also made sure that I lined all of my centers up really, really well, because when you're finished, you want your 2 pouches to be symmetrical. So I took the extra time that I usually skip to really make sure that all of my centers were together. So I marked the center of my zipper and marked the center of all of my exterior and interior pieces so that everything came together quite nicely. Then they had you do a top stitch on the 2 sides of your zipper. Again, holds everything in place nicely, also looks nice. And then they had you work on your D-rings. So you make your D-rings the usual way of taking your piece, folding it in half, pressing, opening it up, folding your 2 pieces into each other, folding it again, pressing so you have like a nice strong D-ring. Then you did a 2 stitches on either side so that you had like a nice matching edges. Fold that in half with your D-ring, and then they had you place it um 1.5 inches down from one of your sides. I did it so that the zipper closure, like the top of my zipper, was the side that the D-ring hung off of. So that when everything's hanging, the top of your zipper's at the top and not at the bottom. So in case anything shifted, it wouldn't just accidentally fall out of your bag if your zipper happened to be open a little bit. They had you baste that down, and then they had you finish that side. So they had you pin your two exterior pieces together with the right sides facing each other. Your two interior pieces together, right sides facing each other. This is a general pouch, a simple simple pouch. Oh, I can't think of a word. But anyway, so it's fairly common and straightforward. You left a 3-inch opening on your lining fabric, and you also made sure your zipper was open so you could turn everything right side round. So then you sewed all the way around, finishing off one of your pouches. What they recommended doing, and it's what I did, I didn't pin it, I clipped it all, is that they had you fold your other exterior pouch piece for your second pouch in, so that you didn't accidentally catch it in any of your seams as you were sewing. So everything was folded in, tucked in nicely into the center. I sewed all the way around the exterior pieces of the pouch, flipped everything right side out, gave it a lovely little press, and one of my pouches was done with the exterior piece for your second pouch waiting to go. From here, I did exactly the same steps as I did before, making sure that my zippers faced the same direction, making sure my D-rings faced the same section. It was a little harder because you had like a bit of a more bulkier pouch to work with, but it all came together quite well. Flipped that right side out, pressed it, made sure everything faced in the right direction, made sure my D-rings were in the right direction, were in the right spots, made sure my zippers zipped up in the same direction. And then I closed out my interior pockets, or the interior openings from the linings. Closed that off with like a really small stitch, and then I focused on the wristlet part. So this is the last step. I do not know if I took photos or not. I cannot remember. But with the wristlet, again, it's fairly simple. Sewers Club, right? You took your 3-inch wide section, folded it in half, so it's 1.5 inches, pressed, opened it up, folded those raw edges into the center, pressed, so that, again, you had a nice tight wristlet. Then they had you insert your lobster clasp, your rotating clasp, your clasp piece to it, sewed your two pieces together, right, your two ends together. So you opened it up, sewed it together, then you folded everything back together and you sewed a closing stitch on one side, a decorative stitch on the other side, so everything matched. And then what they suggested is to line your seam along with near where your clasp is so that it's hidden. And then you did sew down a piece to keep your clasp in place, clipped it onto your bag, and you were done. So even though it was 28 steps, it went quite fast. So I'm sure after all of that, you would like to see what it came out looking at like. Here it is. 2 pouches attached to each other with a blue butterfly focus, because I like that one the most. Right, here's your 2 D-rings. They lined up really well. Here's your clasp, right? Right here is where my seam is. See how it's hidden right at the top of the clasp, so you cannot really see it. And you have like a really nice continuous stitch, right? Here's how they look, right? Your top is the butterfly. You have like a lovely little brown section on the bottom. Same thing on this side. Same thing on the interior. Right, both sides. Right, here's your top. Here's your two zippers lined up in the same fashion. Right, you can see how they poke up a little bit, and that's why I say you needed the enclosed zipper tab. Right, your zipper's open. You have this pop of green on the inside, which I think looks really, really cool. And then here's your like little interior pocket. See? So it is sewn together, and you have this lovely like little interior thing to slide things into. So if you're really careful with all of your sewing and you're paying close attention, everything will come out exactly the same so that you have like matching pouches. I like this pop of blue here too. That was kind of accidental, kind of on purpose. So yeah, there you have it. It's a decent size. The picture shows like makeup-y kinds of things with it, which I'm sure you can do. My mother-in-law called it a wallet, so I'm thinking she's going to use it as like a little out and about wristlet. Here are some things from my previous video that I just recorded. I don't know if it'll hold my wallet. So, I don't think it'll hold my wallet, but my wallet is a beast. Yeah, it won't hold it. Wouldn't expect it to anyway. But yeah, too big. My wallet is too big. But, right, flat sunglasses, husband's keys, a snack, AirPods, giant ass phone, right? And you still have quite a bit of room to spare. This is large enough to hold like little cards or measuring tape. AirPods, right? Like it's just like a lovely little pocket. I'm not sure what I'm going to use this little bag for, but I will come up with something. But it's a decent size like bag. It could work quite well as maybe like a little makeup pouch or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool. To remember that my husband's keys are in here. He just got a bike. He is on a bike ride. He is enjoying life. So yeah, that's this. Oh, I think he's home. So let's talk pros, cons, and user error. It's a fun bag. I like learning how to make this little pocket. I like the fabric. It's not really my taste, but I like the way the colors work together. I like the nature-y kind of a look of it. My mother-in-law absolutely loves the fabric. I liked the steps for walking through it. I liked a lot about it. Cons, I'm not sure I'm ever really going to have a use for a bag specifically like this, but I always say that, and I almost always come up with something to use it for. What would you use it for? Or what are you thinking it would be good for? Let me know in the comment section. I'd really like to hear. I didn't like how they didn't actually give you like how you had to cut this down to size 4, but it's fairly easy to figure out. You can see on one of these, actually on both of these, that like I cut them so that like these tabs here were here, so I didn't have to worry about messing with them. And yeah, not a lot of cons because like it's a decent little bag and I'm sure someone will really love it. User error. There's not really a lot of user error. I did attach the one zipper on in the wrong direction and I had to redo that, but I caught it early on enough that it didn't mess up everything. Everything came together really well, and since I've been using wider zipper tabs than what they say, I haven't had any issues with my like encapsulated zippers causing me any problems. The interiors look really good. There's no issues with that. There's no issues with cutting or anything like that. Like, it was a really straightforward project. So it may not be exactly my style, but I always enjoy what they have to offer for the most part. There's some things that stick out in my mind as projects I hate and will never ever look at again. But for the most part, I really do enjoy what they do. So let's do final thoughts and sign off. I like this bag. I have no issues with this bag. It's not for me, but not everything has to be. So yeah, I'll ask again, what do you think of this? Did you like it? Did you like the colors? Would you have liked it with the alternative fabric instead? Like the birds? I think the birds would have been really pretty, but the birds are a bit big, so you might have an issue with that. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this project. Also, let me know if you're excited for me to have like a lovely little code. I'm excited. I've never had anyone offer me a code before. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm very excited for it. I was going to do it on my last video, but I decided I might as well do it with like a project that is actually relevant to this year. So yeah, let me know if you like that or if you don't like the idea of codes. I'd be curious to hear. And with all of that being said, I'm going to say subscribe if you want more sewing content. Every single Wednesday is a sewing video. Half of them have to do with Sewers Club, at least. Sometimes more, never sometimes less, just sometimes more. Next week, I'm uncertain what I'm going to be talking about. I have a few different projects that I've been thinking about, but I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about just yet. So it is sewing related. It is finished. I just haven't decided which one I'm going to talk about. So yeah, Mondays are miscellaneous videos and Fridays are long-term projects. So if any of that interests you, take a look, see what I have going on. And yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye.